Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the
Hello.
channel. Hello. I'm Cult Cinema 83, and this is, of course, episode 25 of the Cult Cinema podcast. Episode 25 already. Where has time gone? And as you can see, I'm joined for the second time by Jodie from Jodie's Movie Realm. Jodie, how have you been?
I'm really good. How are you keeping?
Good. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Very good.
Good.
Thank you for being here once again for the
Yeah.
second time to do this one.
Yeah, no problem.
I think we're doing an episode that we are both very excited about. I hope.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
yeah, if I sometimes let out a cough, I have a little bit of a hay fever. So
Oh,
it's just to let you know.
no problem.
But it should be good. I have some good medicine. So
Yeah.
But anyway, episode 25 of the Cult Cinema podcast, and we discussed we were going. We were taking a trip to old-fashioned Hollywood, I guess, and we're going to discuss and talk about Wes Craven, a very interesting director, I feel like. So before we dive into the actual movies, of course, that we are going to talk about. Can you share a little bit with me and, of course, the audience? Like, what was your first exposure to Wes Craven, and where does he stand as a filmmaker or a director? What does he mean to you as a filmmaker?
Yeah, I kind of feel like he's one of these directors. Like I've always been exposed to in a way. Like he's always kind of been there. Whether passively or kind of consciously. Like I remember probably like my earliest experience probably is watching Nightmare on Elm Street for the first time on TV. And it's probably most people's first experience. But I just remember not really kind of being nearly too young to kind of connect with the film, but I just remember the imagery like just being so kind of visceral and kind of striking at the time. Um so like a lot of the imagery from that film kind of stuck in my head. Um, and then I suppose, yeah, as I got kind of a little bit older and got more kind of into horror and into kind of films in general, I, obviously started watching Scream. I think I can't even remember the first time I watched like the Scream franchise. Again, I feel like they were there from a very early age in my kind of film watching kind of history. Especially like the first three were kind of always in my kind of rotation, kind of growing up. Um, and then I think I kind of maybe kind of when I was in my late teens, kind of early 20s, when I was really starting to like cultivate like what films do I like. It's kind of when I got more into his films and actually started seeking out his films. Um, yeah, for me, I mean, like he's like a seminal horror director to me. I feel like he has a lot of big hits, but then I feel like he just has like a steady portfolio of like just strong horror films and strong storytelling. Like I feel like he's not, maybe, you know, like probably like an Oscar worthy kind of director, but he's very solid, like very consistently delivering good storytelling, good horror filmmaking. And like I feel like he's a legend now at this point, just in terms of horror cinema and what he's contributed to horror cinema in general. So um yeah, I feel like his films are all of his films I feel like are ones I can just kind of go back to at any time, really. Like they're all kind of very rewatchable, all very like, I guess, all quite commercial, but all very accessible. I think if
Mhm.
you're new to horror, I think he's a great director to kind of get stuck into, to you know, um, kind of delve into different stories and different worlds, and you kind of see, even with Serpent in the Rainbow, it's such a different, world that you're kind of getting into. So I think he's a great director to get into if you want to start your horror journey as such.
Right. Right. Yeah. No, I would partly agree. I would say that some of his films, though, can be a kind of a rough watch.
Yeah.
Especially when I tell you about. I'll get to that in a bit. When I tell you about my first experience with the,
Yeah.
you can probably guess if I mention something like that. But no, I mean it's. I would say that some of his films are a bit rough, though. But I would say for the most part, I agree with you. He's very like a staple of horror cinema.
Mm-hmm.
And to your point, I don't think that every director, especially in the horror genre, has to be Oscar worthy.
Oh no, definitely not. Definitely not.
I'm like, and don't get me wrong, the Oscars are valid, and but whenever someone wins it, they definitely deserve it. I just feel like for certain genres that doesn't. I mean,
it doesn't translate.
It doesn't apply as much because it has much more of a sort of entertaining factor. It doesn't have to be highbrow art all the time. Something like that.
Yeah, that's kind of more what I mean. Like it's not. It's not like kind of artistic cinema as such, but it's it's steady and it's like I said, it's like more, it's accessible to like a wide audience.
Right. Exactly. Yes. And I have a bit of a complicated history with Wes Craven because I feel like after the 80s there aren't a lot of high points really. I would probably say the highest point after the 80s for me is the first Scream from 1996, which at that point Wes Craven had kind of fallen out of favor for me. Because I just wasn't really impressed with a lot of his work at that point. And then Scream came out, and that was like, pop culture icon. It's like, and I really like Scream. Don't get me wrong, especially for Neve Campbell. But the sequels, I kind of have a bit of a rough history there. But overall, I would say overall he's a very he's a staple of horror cinema for sure, absolutely. And I would say my first exposure to it, you can probably guess it already, was probably his most notorious one, which is The Last House on the Left.
Oh yeah.
And also his debut, of course. And I remember watching that. I think I was already 16 at that point, I think, when I watched it. So, I could properly watch it, of course. But I just remember watching that, and I just felt dirty after that film ended. And but I don't get me wrong, I think it's a really good movie. It's just such a unpleasant watch.
Yeah.
But I always would say to people that it's an important unpleasant watch because the social commentary that he puts in that is so riveting and and powerful. So I would say it's a nasty watch, but it's an important nasty watch. So but we're not going to talk about that movie here because tonight we are going to discuss both The Hills Have Eyes and The Serpent and the Rainbow, of course. Probably two of his most famous films, I guess. So which one would you like to start with this one?
Oh, to be honest, I don't really mind. Maybe Serpent and the Rainbow.
Okay.
Just both of them are very like fresh in my mind. I rewatch both of them, so they're definitely like either or is good for me.
Okay. So shall we start with Serpent and the Rainbow then?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Okay. So Serpent and the Rainbow, that's from 1988, of course. Like at the end of his 80s career, I guess. Sort of quick synopsis again. An anthropologist, that's such a hard word. An anthropologist goes to Haiti to research a drug that makes someone appear dead by suspending all vital signs, unknowingly getting himself in the crosshairs of a voodoo priest. Again, what is it with all of these hypnosis that give away the plot? Really, it's like,
I know.
It's so, and I looked these up on IMDb, and it's like, guys, you're always spoiling the movie.
Yeah, that's the whole movie.
It's so weird. Anyway, but what can you do? What can you do about it? But yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. Serpent and the Rainbow. Let's just dive into it. What are some before we go into positives and negatives and stuff like we did last time? what are some of your general thoughts on this movie?
I just have to come out and say that I love this movie. And like this is for me, this is I don't know like if it's Wes Craven's like best film. Like I'm not going to make any claims about it in terms of his filmography, but it's one of my personal favorites. I just there's so many things I love about this film. I love how just kind of unique it is, really, for starters. Just the imagery and everything for me really kind of captivates me. Yeah, I just enjoy the location. I just enjoy that I enjoy that there's kind of fantasy elements to it, but you know, I think we see like a continuation of, Wes Craven kind of doing like, he does real world kind of horror quite well. He kind of keeps things very kind of true to life. And while it's again there's so much fantasy, I still feel like it's grounded in quite a lot of reality, which I really personally like because it feels more plausible. Um it's just for me, it's just a film I kind of get sucked into. I really love this one, and I feel like it's a bit of an underrated film in terms of, his filmography, but it's one that I really like, and it's one I kind of I enjoy kind of revisiting every so often.
Right. I'm so glad we're on the same page with this. I'm not going to spoil my rating, not yet anyway. But I adore this movie, and
Good.
it's so great. And you mentioned it already. That's the funny thing. I don't understand why this movie is so under the radar with people.
Yeah.
For a Wes Craven, like it's really, really great. It's absolutely great, and for some strange reason, this is just so underappreciated.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Maybe it was the success of Nightmare on Elm Street. I don't know, coming on the heels of that, but
yeah,
this movie just disappeared into the ether so quickly.
Yeah.
And I honestly don't get it, because to me, like you said as well, to me, this is one of his best films. This movie is so great. And even upon rewatching it, because I hadn't watched it in a while, and I forgot how good this movie was.
Yeah.
And it's really, really great. So we might as well get started right away. So let's start with positives again. You mind if I start with one of the positives that we can 100%. Go from there? Okay, sure, yeah. Because I think you're probably gonna agree on this. Yeah. So my first positive is that I adore the cinematography in this. It's so delicious. It's like, in our previous podcast where we did The Exorcist. By the way, a little bit of a side note: The Exorcist, that episode we did, has the most views on my channel right now.
Oh, really? Oh, that's great. That was such a fun episode. I really enjoyed doing that.
So, I mean, so we there we go. We kind of rocked that one.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, it was great. But anyway, just to let you know how received that is. So anyway, but yeah, in that episode, I talked about guerrilla filmmaking. And this is what I'm talking about. Craven shot most of this movie in the Dominican Republic and Haiti, and the amount of risks they took to provide, a cinematic experience and entertainment for an audience, for us.
Yeah,
it's just it's so amazing, and I think it really deserves praise. Because the cast and crew, they got sick from contaminated food, and they couldn't drink water from taps and stuff because of sewer leakage in the local slums or whatever. It's like, it's so it's like worst conditions, and there was political strife and civil turmoil during production, so they ran the risk of being like arrested or attacked, so they had to seek help from the local militia to protect them, and all kinds of bizarre stuff. But just the imagery, Haiti providing, the rainforests for the Amazon jungle and stuff,
Yeah.
as well as Santo Domingo, of course, where the town where it takes place and stuff. Everything just looks so stunning and gorgeous in its scenery. And I think that's, especially in the circumstances that they were in, that's so incredibly hard to pull off.
Yeah.
And just kudos to Wes Craven and his crew. Like, how do you look at that whole thing?
Yeah, it's weird. It's like a juxtaposition. It's like I nearly want to kind of get into this movie. Like I want to just it's like I want to experience it, but like I also understand that like the fact he does actually create such a feeling of dread and unease within the kind of location and within the setting, but it's still just visually the imagery, just the colors, everything. I just kind of nearly want to like be immersed in it. It's just one of these films. It's just so gorgeous to watch.
Yeah,
Even all of the dark stuff is just so just it's just so beautiful to see, and it's put together so well. So yeah, it's like a I don't know, it's weird. Like I don't know why I want to like experience it, but like also there's just so much to fear about it, but it's just yeah,
yeah.
it looks incredible.
And this movie does get dark. I
Yeah.
mean,
Oh
it
yeah.
gets dark. It's
Yeah.
like, so yeah, but yeah, now I can totally see what you're saying there. It's just it's like, honestly, this is like one of the most beautiful looking movies that I think I've seen in my whole
Yeah.
uh life of watching movies.
Hmm.
It's just, it looks so amazing.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
it
Yeah.
just
I just feel like even if this was done with like modern kind of cinematography, I just don't think they would have captured the depth of just of what we experience in this film. I just feel like even like kind of production design is it just feels so flat nowadays, whereas this just feels so rich and so vibrant and just yeah, it's just gorgeous to watch.
Yeah, yeah, totally. So let me throw it over to you. I started it off. Let me throw it over to you. What are some of your positives with the Serpent and the Rainbow?
Yeah, yeah, as well as the like the location, the setting, I just love this whole culture. Like I feel like I just enjoy actually learning about the culture because I don't know, I just feel like it's such um an untapped genre in horror, to be honest. This kind of voodoo kind of culture, like this Haitian kind of spiritual ritualistic kind of culture. Like I feel like why like I kind of did a search of like other films that are kind of in this kind of genre, and there's none. Like there's so few that kind of tackle this kind of culture, and I just feel like it's just so rich. There's probably just so much more to explore within that. So I love that we get this film from Wes Craven, that we get to kind of explore this a little bit and kind of explore the culture, the spirituality, and then like a little bit of the politics of the region as well. Like there's so many layers to the film.
Yeah,
Every time you watch it, you can kind of actually learn a little bit more and kind of discover a little bit more. Um, I think the score is really, really cool. I'm always like a fan of a film score. I just feel like the score, it's like really kind of primitive. And it kind of just it just kind of pulsates throughout the film and kind of really moves the film along. I just think it's just so perfectly, you know, um scored to have that effect.
hmm
Um yeah, there's just so much to love in it. I love all the kind of the vision scenes. For me, I just think they're just absolutely stunning to watch. I know we know that like Wes Craven knows how to do like a dream sequence because he's like
yeah,
he's one of the masters at that, and I just feel
mm,
like the way the dream sequences are shot are just for me just sensational. Um, Particularly I love the scene where the kind of boat is coming towards him, and in that dream sequence, I just think it's just like I could frame that image and just hang it up. I just think it's so cool.
yeah,
um I love the pacing of it. I just love the storytelling. I love how it all unfolds. Um, God, there's just so much to love about it. It's
Yeah, yeah.
just, yeah, yeah, I know. It's just,
Totally.
yeah, I think
Absolutely.
it's fantastic. Yeah.
Absolutely. But to get out, continue on what you're saying right now, it's like, it's, you know, that's another positive for me. Is like, before I do that, by the way, I have, this is like a movie where I am sort of like I don't want to say religious, but like I'm
Hmm.
much more familiar with voodoo and stuff like that, because,
Yeah.
bit of a sidetrack, I have been a scuba diver for 25 years.
Oh, wow.
I no
That's
longer
cool.
do. I no longer scuba dive, but I've been for 25 years, and
Hmm.
a lot of my travels took me to the Caribbean.
Oh, wow.
So
Incredible.
I've actually been to the play to, the region where like this culture is very much like living alive.
Oh, amazing.
And so you learn a lot about that local religion and stuff like that, and all of
Hmm.
that. And it's very interesting. But and this movie is like saturated with that. I mean, there is so
Yeah.
much, like, in terms of Caribbean religion and voodoo and all of that stuff. And but to go along with what you're saying, about the imagery, this film, to me anyway, this film is absolutely terrifying. It
Yeah.
is it is
Yeah.
so it is so scary. I mean, the horror elements and the gory bits, they're so amazing. I mean,
Hmm.
like, just the zombie woman, like opening her mouth like wide
Yeah.
open, and
Oh,
then
yeah. That is
her
freaky.
yeah, and then her tongue is like a snake that shoots out and stuff.
Yeah. It's so
Um,
cool.
and yeah, exactly. And the coffin filling with blood scene, and there is, of course, that in endless sort of tunnel with all falling down that endless tunnel with all of the hands sticking out and stuff.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there are decapitated heads and moments with being buried alive. I mean,
Hmm.
being buried alive, it's like,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
that's like,
That's one of my big things is
yeah,
like any film like that. I mean, like Sporlos, like scared the shit out of me because like that imagery, like just it does terrify me, like on a visceral level. So like when I
yeah.
kind of see that kind of um when I see that happening in a film, it does get under my skin a lot. I know it's done in a very fantastical kind of way. It's not subtle at all. Like this film is not subtle, but it still just captures that terror and the dread like really well. Yeah,
Yeah.
that really that freaks me out. That's one of my fears. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
We basically get two buried alive scenes in this film. So,
Yeah.
um, but I mean, it's just such a disturbing and scary film,
Hmm.
in which and that's another thing. You never really know what's real in this
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
And of course, a lot of it is orchestrated by Petro's sorcery machinations and stuff. And I will
Yeah.
get to Petro in later on. But but I think it's really great, and I'm here for it. And what I find so odd about it is that, with all of the location shooting and practical effects and stuff, this movie was made for only $10 million,
That's
which is
crazy.
like
Yeah.
insane. That's like, what?
Yeah.
But again, Wes Craven, he pulls it off, and it's just like,
Yeah. And
that's
there's so
I
much to
don't
it. Yeah.
I just don't see. I'm sorry, but I just don't see horror directors doing that nowadays.
It's like they don't have the ambition to to actually deliver something like this because you know, there's so much in this film. And again, like you can watch it so many times and you'll see new things. There's more detail that you can kind of pick up every time you watch it. And, just seeing how much detail and, obviously they would have had to put so much effort into, figuring out certain shots, even if there's only a shot like for a moment, it all comes together. Um, really, just really beautifully. Like, so yeah, I'd love to see. I'd love to see a director kind of do something like this now, but it's just, yeah, you don't really see it.
No, not really, not really. And to go along with that is, like you said, finding great scores.
Mhm.
And just to go along with that, like what you're saying, I mean, I have to mention, like you said, the soundtrack and the score. I mean, Brad Fiedel is his name. What Brad Fiedel gives to the audience in sound bits and themes, it's so rich and powerful, and
Yeah, that's great.
it's so interesting. He uses a lot of percussions and
Yeah.
castanets. Is that what you call it?
Yeah.
Castanets, as well as like maracas and tambourines and stuff. And it creates this sort of unusual, inventive, but very powerful sound
Mhm.
that totally works for the picture. And it adds so much to the atmosphere and to the tension.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I just, again, like I feel like just it's nearly like that. It's nearly like the heartbeat of the movie. Like it's like the pulse of it, and it keeps everything moving, and it's just paced perfectly for the action that's unfolding. And yeah, when you kind of feel that, when there's kind of this moment of like suspense, where you're kind of waiting for something to happen, and you have this kind of pumping, kind of really pulsating score behind it. It just hypes up the tension so much. And yeah, I just think it works perfectly. It's even in like the scene where where he's making it with the girl. I can't even remember the girl's name, but just that makes that scene so much more like tribal or something, and so much more, I don't know, I don't know, it just gives it a different element.
Well,
And yeah, I think it's great.
like you said, there's almost like a sort of primitive nature to it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It works so well for the film. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, but anyway, to continue on, what else do you appreciate about The Serpent and the Rainbow? I'm sure there is lots, but
Yeah, I do really enjoy as well, kind of like I kind of hinted at, like there's not just kind of what's going on with say the culture, the folklore, the kind of zombification, all of this is going on, but there's like a massive kind of political theme running through it as well, that I think is
totally.
kind of interesting to explore. Like we obviously have some um kind of uprising going on. There's like political tension, obviously in the country. It feels, not only is all this going on, but the country feels like it's at like a boiling point, and there's kind of all that to kind of explore as well. So it's like a really interesting time for the Alan character to actually be going over to Haiti and to be looking into this, because like tensions could not be any higher. And he's totally at odds with with the patrol character, and what are they called, the Macoute, the Tonton Macoute, like the kind of secret service.
Oh
So
yeah,
there's,
I forgot. Oh, I'm blanking on it. But anyway, yeah,
yeah, like there's kind of this extra element to it, and I just feel like, just again, it's just such a tense film, because there is just literally so many different forces, both spiritual and kind of political, that he has to kind of deal with. Um, yeah, I just think it's such a well layered film.
yeah.
And such a, yeah, just the story is just fantastic.
Totally, totally, and
Yeah,
to go along with that, you definitely feel like the Haiti is on sort of the brink of civil war.
yeah,
But I think it's also there's also this sort of element of like the fear of Western culture coming
mhm,
in particular, like the American, of course, the American flag.
yeah,
And
yeah,
to go along with that, I want to start with talking about, like, because characters in the movie, the characters are phenomenal. But to go along with that, sort of like the brink of civil war, the fear of the American flag being planted and stuff like that. I think that really goes along very well as with Zakes Mokae. I probably butchered it, but
mhm,
Zakes Mokae as Captain Darjan's Petro. I think it goes along very well with that. What a great performance! For me, he is the star of the film.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
He is such a great villainous presence. It's amazing. Captain Petro. He's this sort of sadistic and nasty revolutionary, I guess. Who still has sort of a mysterious and unnerving demeanor that is actually quite charming in a creepy way.
Absolutely.
But I think for him and his people, it's very often the case that they can only fight their war through their culture and their habits. And Petro is no different in that, because of course Petro has secretly taken up the role of this sort of voodoo priest, of course, learning the ways of black magic and stuff to destroy his enemies. But besides that, also he is not scared to revert back to some very barbaric means and using violent ways to get like answers from his prisoners. I mean, the picture basically opens with like basically a sacrilegious theft of a coffin, which is, I mean, that's basically the desecration of a sacred object, really. And and it's just so vile and sinister. But we also have like the infamous hammer and nail scene, which is
that is so tense. Oh my god!
And it's that just proves how ruthless he is. As a revolutionary. He's gonna resort to every extremist measure or way he can to protect his people from outside forces.
Absolutely.
What's your take on Petro?
I just think even the casting is like perfection, I feel like, for this character, because he's just I just would not I wouldn't want to see him down a dark alley. Like he's such a sinister dude. And I feel like just that kind of sense of fear is it's heightened because like you said, he's this kind of ruthless revolutionary. He's this ruthless figure, I think, anyway, and that's even with the absence of like the black magic element, but like he has so much kind of power in that sense as well. So he's almost like, he's kind of harnessed both sides, kind of political power and, the kind of cultural, spiritual kind of power as well. And it's just so frightening. And it's so frightening what he will enact on his own people, like obviously. I think what's scary about it as well is like, I mean, like you kind of said about this kind of fear of like the West and like the fear of the West kind of maybe infiltrating their culture, so he kind of sees maybe like this kind of zombification as, to kind of stop. It's almost like to enslave people to his way of life, to like kind of make them kind of soulless and mindless and just, not susceptible to being, brought over to the dark side as he would see it, so I just feel like, he's just such a sinister guy. And I feel like it's really shocking. That scene with the hammer and nail scene is so like you just like, I don't know, like
you just feel it. You
just can't. I don't know. Sometimes you just feel like, is he really going to go there and do it? And he does, and it's just it's ruthless. Like, but it's great to see. I feel like he's just someone you just can't wait to see him get what he deserves.
Absolutely.
Like I love just the basically when he does get what's coming to him. I just feel like it's just so over the top, and I love it. I don't even care how cheesy it is and how ridiculous. I'm living for it. I'm here for it.
Yeah. But it's like, it's very over the top, but it's like, and I guess it's kind of, cheesy and stuff, but, at that point you don't care because like,
Yeah, you're in it, and it
you
makes
know,
sense.
well, also because Zeke's Mokae is just, he does such a great job performing this,
Yeah.
that you like at the end of the movie you hate him so much. It's like
Yeah.
you want him to get the most painful death there is and stuff.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like the only thing I was like, when he's like, we're spoiling anyway. The only thing I was like, when he was like burning to death, it's like you don't hear him scream or whatever. It's like, you know, that's like, oh man, you know, you have to.
You just
I
want
wanna,
like more pain and more suffering.
yeah, I want to hear you scream. But
Yeah.
what you said about, you know, of course, using black magic as well as political power, I think also the black magic comes for, it's like the power of suggestion, right? It's like
Yeah.
to make your enemies think that like I can do anything to you that I want. Even though even things that are beyond your sort of
Understanding, yeah.
capability to believe or to grasp. And you know, one of my favorite scenes with Petro is actually where they're in the club, and that just shows how powerful the guy is. It's like where he's in the club and he's like having his glass, and you think he's gonna make a toast, and then he starts tapping the glass, and the guy just goes completely insane and like wild and stuff. Clearly he's under some influence by Petro.
Yeah.
But just
and then
that
you have
simple,
the girl, yeah, as well, getting possessed at the that she attacks the Bill Pullman character. Like, I mean, it's total, the power that he has, like, is insane.
yeah, just that simple tapping, and then you
Yeah,
like, you know,
it's
it's like,
great.
yeah, it's really great. So what do you think about the rest of the cast?
Um, yeah, I mean, like, I find it kind of hard to really fault anyone in the film. I find kind of on rewatch, I did wish kind of maybe Bill Pullman would give me a little bit more at times. But
Hmm.
I still think he did a good job with it. It is, look, it's one of these movies that it's so out there, and you know, you really just you kind of just have to, I don't know, you just have to kind of totally let go and just totally, you know, um kind of succumb to it. But I think the cast is great. The Christoph character is really interesting. The Mozart character is interesting. Yeah, it's just a really fun kind of cast of characters.
Yeah, well, talking about Bill Pullman, it's like
Mhm.
I was so surprised that someone like Bill Pullman would say yes to doing a film like
Yeah,
this. It's
yeah,
like, you
exactly.
know, it's because you would just not think that certain actors would want it to be with, you know, associated with horror, because
Mhm.
you know, back then it was such a niche genre, and it was sort of
Yeah,
like looked down upon, you know, which I don't get at all, but okay.
no,
But I think he deserves praise, because I think he really pulls off the character that he is supposed to be here.
yeah, I think so.
I think, you know, Dennis Allen is very intriguing, I guess, because I think he starts out as this sort of arrogant and elite kind of anthropologist who clearly starts out as what I call an unbeliever.
Mhm.
And also he's so money driven by the, of course, the pharmaceutical company he works for,
Mhm.
and then, you know, and he's mean to people as well. Like one of my favorite scenes in the cemetery, when he accuses Marielle, that's the name of the female doctor.
Oh yeah, that's right.
um, but in the scene in the cemetery where he accuses Marielle of, you know, just looking for dollars or government funding and stuff,
Mhm.
it's like, dude, you're such an asshole here.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
what the hell? What are you doing?
yeah. It's just so
Um,
arrogant. But I think
yeah,
maybe that is like, I kind of thought maybe that is a good juxtaposition of him coming in, like, again, like the American coming in and kind of, you know, kind of bullying his way around and questioning, you know, the way things are done. And You know, he definitely gets like the culture shock when he's there as well. Like, so I thought it was like, I thought it was a really interesting juxtaposition to put him in this, you know, in this kind of setting in this country. So you definitely, you know, it kind of, yeah, he definitely kind of stands out, I think.
Yeah, and throughout, but he does redeem himself throughout the movie because he eventually does become a believer. So
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. And he just ends up having to go along for the ride then, really, and you know, kind of see where it takes him. But yeah, he does. We kind of end up, you know, really rooting for him then in the end.
yeah, yeah. Which, by the way, I will talk about the ending in a bit because
Yeah.
I do have something to say about that. But
Okay.
yeah, I mean, but yeah, the rest of the cast is great as well. I mean, you mentioned you have blaxploitation actor Paul Winfield, who portrays Lucienne, who is the Hungan, sort of like the priest of the good community, sort
Oh
of.
yeah. Yeah.
And then, of course, you have Dr. Marielle Duchamp, who played by Cathy Tyson. I really like her character. She is sort of that, like, she's kind of the counterpart to
Yeah. Yeah.
to Dennis. There's in a way they're sort of like the same halves of the same coin, two halves of the same coin.
Yeah.
So
He
and
definitely
then
needed her to kind of bounce off, I think. Like she was, you know, I feel like just kind of just in terms of the story, she kind of helped him to kind of even get the story kind of moving along a little bit. So I've definitely enjoyed her character in it.
yeah, yeah, but I wouldn't say she's just a love interest. I think in her own way she is a strong character.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, running this sort of halfway house hospital kind of thing that
Hmm.
seems to be falling apart and stuff. You know, and in a way you almost want her to get like the government funding and stuff. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Because the hospital that she works in is so pathetic. It's
Yeah.
really like, you know. But again, it goes with the conflict very well, probably the local conflict and stuff.
Yeah. Exactly.
Um, you also have the legendary Michael Gough in here, who
Hmm.
is portraying Dennis's employer, Schumacher, of course.
Yeah.
And Michael Gough is always fantastic. I mean, I love him in so many films. The Batman films, not so much, but you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Yeah. Exactly.
but that's not his fault. That's the Batman movie's fault.
Hmm.
You know, let's not even mention BNR. But
Yeah.
anyway,
I know. I know.
you know, but anyway, let's not go there. But no, the cast overall is great. So I mean, yeah. What else can we say about this movie? Do you have any more like positives on it?
Let me think. What else have I not? Kind of what have I not covered? Yeah, I don't know. Just for me, like I think I'm going to even find it hard to kind of find too many negatives about it. I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say, but just for me, just the overall sense of dread, the overall imagery, everything kind of just about this movie appeals to me. And again, it's one I enjoy rewatching because it just I kind of discover more about it every time I watch it. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna find it even hard to kind of think of like a downside, to be quite honest. It's just, yeah, it's just one I think I have, yeah, I've just kind of grown to just absolutely love.
Well, I mean, it's so unique and unusual as well, like
Yeah.
you said, right? I mean,
Yeah.
there aren't a lot of movies like this that
No.
really go into like the voodoo and stuff like that. That sort of,
No.
you know, horror,
Yeah.
which makes it very unique. I mean, that makes it really stand out. Which again, is why I'm so surprised that this movie doesn't get more praise. It's really
Yeah.
odd. It's
Yeah. And I
really odd.
really, it just kind of watching this just really made me I just wanted to see more. Like I wanted something else like this, but it doesn't really exist, which I think is, you know, is a testament to this film and to Wes Craven because it's like it's just so original. You
Yeah.
know, and you can't find anything. It's just hard to find even something to follow it up with. You know, when you're in that headspace of, you know, I've loved watching that and now and I want to watch something similar.
Right.
You know, there's kind of films even kind of set Louisiana with kind of those kind of voodoo elements, skeleton key and stuff like that. But nothing that there's nothing that does what this film does, I think.
Right. No, and
So it's just so unique.
American Horror Story season 3 did it as well in New Orleans, I think it was.
Okay, I need to see that. I've never watched any of the American Horror Story, so maybe I need to check that one out.
It has fallen from quality, but I mean, season 3, the one with the voodoo and stuff, it's pretty decent, I would say. It's not perfect, but it's decent. But that one is new in New Orleans. But they all seem like toned down versions of this one. And again, I mean, this wasn't even Wes Craven's own script. I mean, he adapted this from a novel, which is like, again, which makes it even more harder.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
But anyway, I'm pretty much done with my positives. I do have one negative with this.
Go ahead.
Only negative with this film. Are you done with positives before I go on?
Yeah, you go ahead. Okay.
All right. So I have one negative, and it's a pretty big one, but it's like, this is like more of like, this is personal taste. So it might not be a negative for everyone, but this is just something that I was thinking about. So, all right. So, with everything that this movie has going on, in terms of how sinister it is, and cynical and all of that, I personally wanted this movie to have a much darker ending. Because, and I'm gonna lay it out to you, and I'm curious to know how you feel about this. Okay.
Yeah.
So for me, especially on rewatching it, for me, I think it would have been even better if Dennis was buried alive, like we see in the film, and Petrode, but he's saved by Christoph, right? He's saved by Christoph, and then they go back into town, and Dennis is killing Petrode in that glorious way and sends him to hell and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
But I would have a scene personally in which, after that victory where he kills Petrode and stuff, he wakes up again in the same coffin.
Oh yeah.
And he realizes that the whole resistance and victory was yet another hallucination.
Oh, that's a good one.
And he is still buried alive. And before the film cuts to black and cuts to credits, you hear Dennis scream and scratching the lid of the coffin and stuff. And that's where it cuts to black. And then you have end credits. Because here's the thing. It would have this whole, disturbing notion about, pride comes before a brawl and stuff.
Yeah.
Because let's not forget, Dennis originally came to Haiti for a paycheck.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
And with the promise of a patent of this medicine. So he basically came to Haiti with the notion of this is going to make me rich. And I get it. This movie is already so dark and depressing and stuff. And the studio probably decided, like, look, after such a bleak movie, we need to have a happy ending.
Yeah.
But I think it would have made more sense for the character of Dennis. Because, as much as you have redeemed yourself, you still had somewhat ill intentions, really, sort of, kind of.
Yeah.
I think that ending would have been more satisfying for me, because it would have made it even more nihilistic and stuff. How do you feel about that? Do you agree, or?
Oh yeah, to be honest, I didn't even think about that, but I think you've ruined the movie for me now. I feel like that's so much better ending. Like, I feel like that actually makes so much sense, because I feel like, I think I know what you mean about, like, the studio, and then obviously, like, I don't know, the studio always kind of wants to go for, like, the hero arc, and, like, the hero wins and America wins, and, like, we win, America wins over the primitive culture. But, like, that isn't always necessarily the case. So yeah, that's actually such an interesting idea, because and they could have easily done that because of the hallucinations, and like they easily could have worked that into the script. And then yeah, I feel like you would have been sitting a lot more uncomfortably when the credits roll, I feel. And
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, you'd be like, oh my, I think it'd be much more shocking. Actually, yeah, that's such good idea.
Well,
Yeah, I wonder I wonder was something darker ever like pitched, and yeah, again, maybe it was turned down, or maybe they were like, oh no, we need, we need the heroism at the end. Like I'd love to know, was that ever an option?
hmm, yeah,
Because like
yeah,
part of me wonders like if the ending that was there, like that's probably what I was thinking, that it was like a little bit kind of quick, and it was like, maybe, I don't know, maybe just a little bit too like convenient, because
yeah,
you know, um, we're kind of learning the whole way through about like the power, of this, this kind of voodoo black magic, just how sinister it is, and you know, I do think it would have been powerful to kind of, if that had won out in the end. Yeah, I didn't. To be honest, I did not think about it, but it's a really good point.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
it's and yeah. I mean, like you said, the like the sort of the anti, the good guys win sort of ending, which is one of the big reasons why I adore Cannibal Holocaust so much. But
I was just thinking
that's
about Cannibal Holocaust, because that's exactly what that film does. Like
yeah, but
it's
that's
there are no winners in Cannibal Holocaust, you see, and that's why
aren't
I think
there?
that's I don't think so.
Oh,
Like
okay. Well, okay.
no, I feel like there are no winners, because the like just
We're
everyone
not
kind of
spoiling
suffers.
Cannibal Holocaust, but
But everyone kind of suffers, I feel like, in that movie, and
that's true. That's true. Yeah,
there's no like there's no hero.
no, that's true. That's true. That's true. Yeah, yeah. But that's a whole discussion for another
Yeah.
that would
Yeah, we
make
can
a
do that
whole
stream some other
that
time.
would make a whole different podcast. But
Yeah.
I mean, just the whole thing of the hero wins and stuff. That's why I love Cannibal Holocaust so much,
Yeah.
because the hero doesn't win.
No.
And I feel like this movie, I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the ending that it has, but I don't know, for what the movie is, I would would have appreciated that more on a personal level, but it's
Yeah.
like, and
Maybe if this film came out in the 70s, that might have been the ending. I just feel like the 80s was a lot more commercial, like, and a lot more,
yeah,
um kind of trying to suit, I guess, your corporate interests, and kind of trying to keep, a certain kind of image, satisfied. Whereas the 70s, like, I mean, there wasn't, like, they didn't really care about that as much, and maybe they would have gone down the darker path. But I guess, we're just in that little bit more kind of commercial time, I think, maybe, when, Serpent and the Rainbow came out late 80s. So um yeah,
yeah,
I don't know. It's interesting to think about, though.
yeah, yeah. Especially since the 80s were practically ending almost.
Yeah.
This is 1988. So it's kind of like at the end of an era, sort of, so to speak.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I mean, my favorite era of horror is the 80s. So I mean, that's my sort of Mount Everest of horror.
Mhm.
I always go back to the 80s, but it definitely is in the last stretch of the 80s. So
Yeah.
there could have well been. I mean, there could have been studio interference for sure.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's very possible. So I don't know what was lost in translation or whatever, deleted scenes wise, but but again, I still like the ending as it is. But this is just a preference. So
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
but let me throw it over to you. Do you have any negatives for The Serpent and the Rainbow?
Um, I don't have a lot. I mean, maybe maybe just I feel like it's one that I feel like you can enjoy it on a visceral level at any, you can just watch it and really enjoy it. I feel like maybe it could be one that it might need a couple of viewings to kind of really understand the full, the layers and the political aspect. There's a kind of a lot more to kind of get it. Like when I was kind of reading into it, like a lot of commentary from people who didn't like the film was that it was like over kind of convoluted and there was like too much kind of going on.
Oh.
I don't personally kind of really agree with that, but
Mhm.
maybe that was kind of the understanding that the story was a little bit kind of hard to digest. Like, but it was like
Hmm.
visually really, really fun to watch, but like maybe the storyline wasn't um maybe wasn't as easy to follow. Yeah, I don't really kind of personally agree with that, but yeah, I just think it's one for me. I just yeah, I kind of find it hard to kind of find any negatives on it really. It's just one that um yeah, there's a special place in my heart for this movie, and it's yeah,
Yeah.
again, it's just, I think when you I don't know, I think when you fall in love with a movie, sometimes it's hard to be um it's hard to
Critical
be
towards
as
it.
yeah, yeah, I think so. I think so, but yeah, I love it. I really I really just love it. I can't stop saying just how much I enjoy it.
Right. Well, I mean that's always like a conflict that I kind of have
Hmm.
internally. Like for example, you're sort of new to the giallo stuff and all of that,
Yeah,
but one of my favorite because I'm really into the Italian cinema and stuff.
yeah,
Um, One of my favorite films is The Beyond. You may have heard of it, but you
yeah,
haven't. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
But anyway, I fully agree and acknowledge that movie is all style over substance. Like
Hmm.
there is practically no story there,
Hmm.
but that movie is just so good in everything else that it delivers in terms of
Yeah,
atmosphere and soundtracks and all of that. I mean, it's difficult to talk about movies like that because here's the thing, especially newer audiences, they're always looking for the narrative structure,
hmm,
but they seem to forget what the other things that horror movies can deliver.
yeah,
And so it's always like you're always trying to balance the two between, like, putting your thoughts together and stuff.
yeah,
And sometimes it's harder to do than other things, for sure. And and I mean, Serpent and the Rainbow, it does have some rough edges for sure, but
yeah. Oh yeah.
it's like, I mean, but those are, to me, they are so minuscule that, like, who really cares?
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
just feel like it's such a a compelling package, as a whole. Like I feel like when you know I don't know, when you get in the space of really enjoying a film and it really, you know like you can just forgive a lot, I feel. And
yeah,
like, I mean, maybe, yeah, like you kind of said, like with kind of Jallo, you can sometimes you kind of watch it and kind of go like the story, the dialogue is not great, or this criticism, that criticism, but like
yeah,
I feel like it's hard to quantify a feeling that you get when you watch something. Most of the time we love a movie because of how it makes us feel, and
totally,
we identify with an element of it, and it just speaks to us on a different level than just like, oh, I really like the cinematography and I think the dialogue was like it kind of a film that we enjoy kind of transcends all those like critical points.
yeah.
And like we can forgive a lot. Like there's loads of films that I love that are just not well loved, or that, like, I mean, I love Showgirls. Showgirls is one of my favorite films from the
Oh,
90s, and like it's terrible, but I fucking
no,
love that
it's not.
film. I just think it's incredible, and I know the dialogue is really corny and it's cheesy and
Oh
everything,
yeah,
but it's like it just, for me, it just satisfies something in me that that I can't quantify it, but I love it, and I think this film does the same thing. So I don't really care if it's not perfect.
yeah, yeah,
So
exactly. Well,
yeah,
fellow Showgirls fan here, so
Oh, good.
it's like
Good.
it's like, and it's not terrible, but
No, but it's like
that's us.
it's
But
kind of thought of as terrible, but it's fantastic. It is.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
great.
absolutely, absolutely, and it's and I'm not saying that because the director is from my country, so
Oh yeah.
just saying, just saying. But no, Showgirls is. But I'm I'm a big fan of do you consider it erotic thriller? I do.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm a fan of the erotic thriller anyway.
Me
So
too. Yeah. Me too.
it's pretty much a given win for me. But
Yeah.
it's like But
Yeah.
no, I can see what people are saying about it. But yeah, no, I mean the Serpent and the Rainbow. Just to give our closing thoughts here. I mean, before we go into ratings, just I find it so hard to believe and understand why this movie is so underrated.
Yeah.
I just don't see it because in terms of just filmmaking alone, it gives you so much.
Mm-hmm.
And again, maybe the success of Nightmare on Elm Street was like, well, you can't shoot any higher than that. Maybe that's what the whole thing was. But I think it's starting to find its audience a little bit now.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a little bit. I mean, I hear more people talking about it, but just I've never understood why this movie was so under the radar because I really loved it.
Maybe because something like, I don't know, this is just me like thinking out loud, but like maybe because something like Nightmare on Elm Street, you have your very identifiable villain, and it's like this kind of iconic, you know, this iconic villain, and then here's the setup, and it's really easy to understand. It's a guy that kills people in their dreams. It's such a simple concept, so iconic. The imagery, everything is just there. Whereas there's a bit more to this. I feel like I know maybe I'm about to upset people, but I prefer Serpent and the Rainbow to Nightmare on Elm Street just on a personal level. I would prefer to rewatch this than Nightmare. But that's all. It's all a personal preference. But maybe it's just not as like kind of iconic or whatever in terms of like having that kind of identifiable villain, but there's so much just to love about it if people just give it a chance. And um you know yeah, I just don't see why you wouldn't want to, like voodoo and zombies. I mean, there's just so much in it to like kind of get excited about.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe that's it. Maybe it's because like Freddy is such an icon that this is like kind of like but
Yeah, I don't know, maybe.
to be honest with you, I'm on your street level. And by the way, I love A Nightmare on Elm Street, but
Yeah.
I actually prefer this one over A Nightmare on Elm Street as well. It's just
So
it's
I'm not alone then.
it's so great. It's so
Yeah.
great. Anyway, I think we're working up to it, but I think we pretty much covered everything we have on this one. So, do you have anything else to add, or are you ready to go into ratings?
No, I absolutely love it. So that's
Okay.
kind of really all I
So,
can say about it. Yeah.
okay, fine, fair enough. I think we covered that pretty well. So, do you want to go first? Should I?
So the rating out of 10, is it? Or
Yeah,
out of
it's
5?
like 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10.
Oh yeah. So I'm gonna say 9 out of 10 zombie powders.
Okay, there you go. 9 out of 10 zombie powders. There you go. That's a good one. That's a good one. I'm glad you didn't steal my one.
Okay, well.
I had one ready, and I was like,
Okay.
I hope she doesn't take that one.
Okay.
But yeah, and 9 out of 10. That's good. We have a tie because
Okay, good.
I will also. This movie is just so fantastic, and more people should see it because it's really, really great. And especially on rewatching it, I'm gonna watch this movie more because I hadn't seen it in a while, and I forgot how absolutely fantastic this movie is. So I'm definitely going to watch it more now for sure. So with that said, I'm going to give it 9 tarantulas out of 10.
Okay, great.
Like that's my one fear I have. I can't. I hate spiders.
Okay,
And
yeah.
that, like, tarantulas in a coffin, like, that's like,
Yeah.
so 9 tarantulas out of 10. That's what I
It's
give it.
crazy how many fears like are actually worked into this. I mean, you've your buried alive, you've your spiders, you've got voodoo, black magic, occult, you have like possession, there's a freaking leopard or whatever. Like there's just so much in it that's
Yeah,
like you can possibly be scared of, and and obviously the character, the patrol character, and kind of what he's willing to do, like, is freaky too. So there's so much to be afraid of in this movie. So, you know, there's so many fears to, if you're afraid of something, it's probably in this somewhere,
yeah, totally,
you know?
totally. Yeah, but no, yeah, absolutely. And like you said, Petro, we love to hate you. So there you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, 9 out of 10. So we have a tie. No,
Okay.
it's great, and I'm gonna rewatch it a lot more for sure.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
oh, by the way, before we move on, I have this one.
Oh,
It's just
yeah. Nice. Just
it's just a
standard one. Yeah.
regular, yeah,
Yeah.
it's just a regular Blu-ray, nothing special or whatever. But this is the original like poster, which is cool, of course. That's
Hmm.
pretty great.
Well, let
And
me see which one I have. Just give me 1 second.
just if you can't reach it or find it, it's fine. But
Yeah, this
yeah.
is
Oh, there you go. There it is. Yeah. Oh, that's pretty much the same
DVD.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same one. Yeah. So
It's
yeah.
just such a cool. I just love that imagery, and like the boat that I like is on it as well. I just love that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's just such a cool shot.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. No, it's great. So yeah, all right. So moving on to the second one, but there we go, which is The Hills of Ice, of course. A little bit earlier, 1977.
Yeah.
All right. So again, quick synopsis, just to spoil the film for you.
Yeah.
Going to. On the way to California, a family has the misfortune to have their car break down in an area close to the public, which is inhabited by violent savages. Well, I mean, at least it didn't say the C word.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah. So yeah, The Hills of Ice. I mean, this is a very interesting film. I've always to get this started. I call this, and I have a handful of this. I call this a mood movie, MOOD,
Yeah.
mood movie, because this movie like fluxes for me all the time. Like the one time I'm watching it, I absolutely love it. And the other time I'm watching it, I was like, there is some real problems with this one. So this is really such a bizarre watch every time I go through it. But it's a mood movie. That's what I basically call it, and I have a handful of those. But it's very interesting that Wes Craven sort of did a mix-up between a horror movie and a road movie, basically, with this one. So, a little bit of a background before we go into it, of course. Wes Craven's directorial debut, The Last House on the Left, which was a huge box office success, of course. His producer, Peter Locke, saw the potential in we may have a pretty good director here. And they wanted to finance a similar project, and that led Wes Craven to creating this project, of course, based on the legend of Scottish cannibal Sawney Bean, I believe he was called. And he did write the script for this one. And that's pretty much where it started off. So before positives and negatives, just in generality, what are some of your general thoughts on The Hills of Ice?
I actually agree. I was actually thinking what you just said, that this film, it kind of fluctuates for me too, to be honest. I watched this movie twice in preparation for this stream because
Oh, really?
it had been, well, had been so long since I last watched it. It's been years since I watched it the last
Mm,
time. It could be 6 years since I've seen it. So I was
mm,
like, okay, I watched it about 2 weeks ago, and it really didn't. Yeah, it really kind of didn't do anything for me. There's a lot of things I can identify in this movie that I like, and there's a lot of things in it that I think are really worth talking about. Um, but just for me, it just kind of didn't really deliver. However, I watched it again today. I was just on my lunch. I just was like, I'm gonna throw on The Hills Have Eyes again and just give it another go. And I actually liked it a lot more today. Like
yeah,
whatever mood
there you
I was
go.
in. I was like, okay, I'm kind of seeing things in this that I like a bit more, and kind of picking up on on a couple of things. Um, so yeah, I think again for me, it's a kind of mid one for me. There's a lot in it to talk about, and a lot of positives and negatives I think in it. But it's kind of more of a film that I'm really glad I've seen, but it wouldn't be one I'd kind of gravitate towards all the
Mm,
time.
mm, right.
But I still think it's in like an important movie to talk about, and I think there's a lot of kind of substance in it, but just not doesn't always really kind of do it for me.
Hmm. No, no, I can totally see that. I can totally understand it. It's
Mm.
like it's definitely. I'm pretty safe to say this. It's definitely not one of Wes Craven's high water marks.
No.
But yeah, again, it really depends on which mindset I'm in.
Yeah.
But there are, like you said, there are a lot of things that we can talk about here and
Mhm.
discuss because I, there are things in this movie that are very valuable. I feel like,
Yeah.
um, uh, even if it is the filmmaking, we'll get to all of that. But
Yeah.
I think there are things worth mentioning with The Hills of Ice.
Yeah.
But it's definitely one that you like. Yeah, maybe I'm feeling up to it. I'm feeling up to it today, and well, I'm not feeling really feeling it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and it's just one of those movies, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's just dive into it. I'll let you start off. Seems you. I mean, you're talking about positives anyway. So,
Mhm.
what are some of your positives with The Hills of Ice?
Um, yeah, again, like it's not one I'm just like, oh my God, there's so many like just incredible things to talk about. Like I feel like a lot of the positives are kind of more theoretical than actually what is delivered. Like I love the concept of this film. I think the
Yeah,
concept is horrendously terrifying.
yeah,
Like I feel like this is a film I want it to be better because I want the fear of this movie. Like this the storyline in general is horrifying. Like the
yeah.
concept of being abandoned in the desert. You're kind of surrounded by very kind of at the start you kind of don't know who they are. There's that kind of fear, like people are watching me. There's so much tension and fear to it. Obviously I'll get into the negatives later on, but
Mhm.
I just on a conceptual basis I think it's a great idea, and I think it's scary as hell.
Yeah.
And I really want that concept to work, and I want that to scare me, and I want, um I'd love if this is a film that I could kind of disappear into for an hour and a half and just like literally see some of my worst fears come to life.
Hmm.
Um, so I like conceptually, I really like it. I do love some of the shots. I think are fabulous. Like I love the voyeuristic shots. When we see the camera kind of looking down to the family and the mobile, like that. I just think that's such simplistic but really fantastic filmmaking. I love that. I love that sense of like when we don't know who's looking at them, we don't know who's there. We kind of, you kind of seeing this family as being really small and so vulnerable. I think that's terrifying. And I think a lot of the scenes, there's a lot in it in terms of like kind of dread and suspense that he builds up in this film that I think do work really well. So yeah, I think that's kind of where my positives are for the moment. Just yeah, kind of more, I think like you said, maybe more a little bit in the filmmaking and um how it's presented, and then there's just things that kind of just let it down.
Right. Well, I mean, I agree with a lot of your points, but yeah, the filmmaking. I mean, let me start off from that with my positives, because I once again I do really love the cinematography in this.
Yeah.
Craven shot this movie in the Mojave Desert, California, using 60 millimeter cameras, which goes back to again guerrilla filmmaking.
Yeah.
So 60 millimeter cameras, which by the way were also used by pornography filmmakers. So take from that what you want.
It does have that really gritty feeling to it.
Yeah.
I love that vibe is so cool. It's really cool.
Yeah. So for the audience, take from that what you want. But it's but no, I mean, but the picture, I think the picture does look stunning in its imagery. I mean, just the barren wastelands, of the desert creates this tremendous sense of isolation and loneliness. Which works very well, and it fits the tone and the tension. I think it's also pretty impressive that a lot of the movie he decides to let take place in broad daylight, which is like most horror movies tend to go to the scary stuff in like nighttime. But a lot of this movie, it takes place in like broad sunlight, which I think is a very bold move, and it works very well. But also, like you said, in terms of how the camera is used, like it has a very voyeuristic nature to it, almost. Like you said, who's watching who and stuff like that, like you said. So yeah, I completely agree. And I think to go along with that, I think Don Peake's score is very effective as well. I think it just has this sort of unsettling feeling that is delivered in the sound of it, which he provides, and I think that goes in tandem very well with the pictures that we see of like what's happening around the cast. And you can see how important music is to Wes Craven. Him having been a sound editor as his first job before he became a director. So and this goes to the Serpent and the Rainbow as well. You can just you can see and feel how much value he puts into like sounds and music and all of that, and adding that to the images that we see. How do you look at the score and how they like sort of combined with the images that we see?
Yeah, I do really like it. I like that it's probably a little bit more understated. It's not kind of one maybe you're not going to play in the car when you're driving to work. It's kind of a little bit more, it's very much there to illustrate that kind of tension, and to kind of give more layers to what we're seeing on screen. Like it's not again, it's not like a like a kind of maybe a more classical kind of soundtrack, but I do find that really effective. In just setting that kind of just setting that tone of unease, and like you said, that kind of isolation that we get from the setting.
Right. Well, I mean the isolation, but there's also, of course, how the setting is presented. Like, for example, you have the sort of desolate and sort of rotting gas station, for example. Like which you see a lot in like ghost towns and stuff. But there is
Yeah.
just in the middle of the desert, there is just this desolate, sort of barren, forgotten gas station, which is
Yeah.
like operated by like one guy, which is
Yeah.
like you're like, how do you make a living all day long in that
Yeah.
situation? It's like, but it's like it's images like that I think work very well within the context of what Wes Craven is trying to do.
Yeah.
So even with the imagery, just the setting as well, like you have. And I think the gas station is kind of like the only like real building that we see in like this movie, right? Apart
Yeah.
from
Pretty much.
the
Yeah.
the trailers and stuff from the the group, of course. But
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's
No,
kind
I
of like
think
the
so.
only. Yeah. So yeah, I think that all works very great. So but I think to go along with that is also, I mean, I think the casting for at least some part of it is pretty solid.
Hmm.
I think I have always loved Michael Berryman.
Yeah.
I really enjoy what he does on screen, and not just in this movie but other movies as well. I think for the roles that he plays, he's actually really good.
Yeah.
Of course, in this one, he is Pluto, of course.
Yeah.
But by the way, it's so funny that I think all the members of the tribe, they have like names of planets and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
what is that about? I
I
have no
know.
idea.
There's a lot. There's a lot about the tribe that just doesn't do it for me at all. To be honest, there's so many elements of it. There's that
Yeah,
it's kind of laughable to me in a way,
right.
and I just feel like, yeah, I know I'll probably get to it, but like I just feel from when we have this great setup, this great setting, the music, we have that kind of fear. It's all set up there for us, and then we get the Flintstones coming down. Like it's like it.
I like that.
I
That's
don't
good. That's good. Yeah,
like it really. I don't know. It just kind of totally takes me out of like the
yeah.
moment, because like the kind of what is actually set up at the start of this film, again, it's another one of my fears. Like I'm a very like anxious person. Like I've kind of dealt with like kind of panic disorder and stuff like
Oh,
that. So for me to be out in a desert with no kind of lifeline is honestly like it's like hell on earth for me, because
right.
you've no safe space, you've nowhere to kind of go and hide. It's you're completely at the mercy of the elements and of unknown kind of forces. um so I think that's a great setup. I love how the family are set up. I think the
Yeah.
family, they're like a gun-toting, like conservative, god-loving family. They are like an all-American family, and
Right.
they kind of set that up, and they kind of hammer that home, that like these, they love Jesus, they have guns, they're very much like, they have the baby, they're very much like a traditional family unit. And
It's so they have such interesting like squabbles though. Like
yeah.
they're not very, like they might be a tight family, but they're not very harmonious, or
Yeah.
how do you call it? I don't know. Isn't that like a bizarre contrast?
Yeah, but maybe that makes it a little bit more real. I don't know, like
Yeah.
maybe, because we are just seeing the insight, we're getting an insight into a family. And like I know, like my family life was not functional. Like, there was moments that were, where kind of things like that would happen, and there'd be arguments in the car, and there'd be all kinds of things going on, and maybe that is kind of maybe realistic.
Hmm.
I think how they get into that situation, I think, is like ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like I would like kill that dad. He's so annoying. Like
Yeah.
the way he just like careens the car, and then crashes it. I just think it's just a silly kind of scenario. But
Right.
I I do like how they present this family, that they're, yeah, again, like this kind of all-American family. and you're kind of like putting that traditional kind of those traditional values at odds with, like the complete opposite, and
Yeah.
this kind of feral, um godless kind of family unit. And it like just in theory it's such an interesting idea.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. No. No. That's I can see that. That's like. But we're already like sort of like skidding into like
Yeah.
negative issues and negatives and stuff. I
I know.
wanna finish up on like
Okay.
my positive in a bit. But like
Yeah.
I can see what you're saying. It's like, and like you said, the dad. It's like, haven't you heard like F-18s fly over your house before? Like.
Yeah.
He's so surprised by the sound. It's like that
Yeah.
he's crashing his car into a ditch. It's like, have you never ever heard an F-18 fly over before? Like it's like so it's so bizarre. It's so weird. It's
Yeah.
really like what? Anyway,
Yeah.
but I wanna if you give me a moment, I wanna finish up on my thought that I was talking about.
Absolutely.
But in terms of like a positive, because I actually have a positive.
Okay.
Like I said, the cast, Michael Berryman, I think is great as a member of the tribe, of course. And then, of course, you have like, I think everybody likes Dee Wallace. Like Dee Wallace is fantastic. And she is probably like the biggest name in this
Yeah, I think
whole
so.
list, because Dee Wallace actually became a household name within the horror genre. So she's probably the elevated cast member of this movie.
Yeah.
But she is pretty much great in anything. So that's
Yeah, absolutely.
so she is great as well. And yeah, that's kind of it. That's kind of it for my positives. Again, like I said, this is it's a very bizarre movie to watch, because I was way, like I said, this time I felt way more on the side of like, yeah, this has some issues. So so I'm pretty much done with my positives here. Do you have any more positives? I'll let you finish before we go into negatives.
I do think there is some imagery in it that that works. Like I do like. I think the scene with the dad getting burnt alive. I think that's
Yeah.
that's a cool scene. That's a cool idea, and that
Yeah.
is like if you're kind of putting yourself in that scenario, I mean that's traumatic stuff.
Yeah.
Like that is absolutely horrifying. So I think I think that's quite effective, and I like that he kind of went there with that, because it's completely shocking. And you're um by doing something like that, I mean, you're kind of stunning the rest of the family into, maybe they thought they would be just completely stunned into submission, but it's a very shocking moment. Yeah, I feel like the kind of the kind of sexual assault scene, I think, again, conceptually is good, but maybe doesn't kind of work out. But I think there's a lot of ideas there that are good, and that are you know um yeah, I think there's a lot of good ideas there, and maybe they don't come to fruition. But
Yeah, no. I mean, I
yeah,
totally agree. Like the pieces are there.
yeah,
It's just the execution, and
yeah, yeah,
that's what I always find kind of baffling, because Wes Craven had much more free reign here than he did with the Serpent and the Rainbow.
mhm,
So where those decisions come from, I'm not really sure.
yeah,
But
yeah,
but I agree that the pieces are there. It's just the
yeah,
execution.
yeah,
But yeah. So if you allow me, I would like to start with my list of negatives here.
absolutely.
Let's go into it, because we're being critical. So
Yeah, I know.
we can be critical. So
Yeah,
um, but anyway, the first thing for me, and especially on rewatching it this time, I watched it this week actually on
Mhm.
Wednesday. I think it was Wednesday. I think for me, the movie just really lacks a certain amount of unease. It's this picture to me is not particularly scary or unsettling at all.
Yeah.
And when you make a movie about, we're spoiling anyway, when you make a movie about hillbilly cannibals,
Yeah.
you have, if you're going to do that, then you have to create a certain a disturbing sense of disgust within your audience. And I don't think Wes Craven succeeds very well when it comes to this. Papa Jupiter's gang is, it's surprisingly tame,
Mhm.
and almost like you said, almost comical
Yeah.
in a way, in their ways, in how they live, but also in how they act. I mean, like, you would expect the gang to look much more like, caveman from the Stone Age or from the Ice Age or whatever, and to be much more brutal in the way that they hunt their prey and stuff. And it's just not really there. It's
No.
just, like you said, it's instead we kind of get Flintstones. It's like, it's just so, and it's such a weird, you know decision in terms of like the horror that
Mhm.
I've never really been able to understand. What do you think Wes Craven's reasoning was for that, for presenting it that way?
I don't know. I really don't know. Like it baffles me because yeah, again, the everything is kind of set up in such a way that this should work. But
Yeah, it should.
I really don't know what, I don't know who was in charge of costumes. I think they failed miserably. I think the it kind of looks like, like a costume you get for Halloween, like caveman, Stone Age, and it has like with the chain with the, all the bones. Like I think it's yeah, it's really just not serious. And I think from the minute we meet, the family, the mother, I feel like we're out of it now. Like we're
Yeah,
completely, they've just ruined it.
yeah, yeah,
I just feel like that's where I stopped even kind of hoping that it would be
yeah.
um kind of disturbing or scary. Um yeah, I really don't know why. uh, I don't know what was preventing it from being delivered, because again, there's the ideas are there. We have like, even the sexual assault. We have like the, one of the family members coming in and he bites the head off the bird. Like that's right, that's disturbing. Like that should be more upsetting than it is,
Yeah.
like there are things that just should translate better onto screen. Yeah, part of me wonders, like, do we just see too much of the family? Should there be a more of element of mystery to them? I'm not too
Maybe.
sure. I feel like for me, the scenes that I hated the most are the ones where we're seeing the family interact together. We're seeing the
Oh,
Jupiters interact together. I just think those scenes are terrible. And I just
yeah.
feel like they're unnecessary. We don't need to know what's going, like we don't I to me, I find like some of the best horror films, most scary horror films are ones where we don't need to know too much about the villain. We don't need a huge backstory and dialogue, and yeah, we like, I mean, it just doesn't deliver what the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, for example, does so well. They kind of give us a glimpse of,
You beat
you
me
know,
to it. I'm going to talk
oh,
about
were you gonna say?
I'm gonna talk about that in a bit, but sorry,
Yeah,
go on. Sorry, go
but
on.
just what I feel like a movie like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre does is that we don't really know why they're doing it. We don't have too much. We don't see anything with the is it the Sawyer family, or is that the
Yeah,
Texas
yeah,
Chainsaw? Yeah, we don't see their inner kind of what's going on and them talking and like we're gonna kill these people to, like, we don't see. any of that. We just experience it from the perspective of the, you know, the victims, basically. You know, we're experiencing their side of it, and we have no idea what's their motivation, what's going on, why, you know. It's all very overwhelming and very, like, kind of fear inducing.
Yeah.
Whereas we don't need to see these hillbilly cannibals talking in the hills, and, you know, like, it just doesn't add anything to the film, and it actually detracts. I think it's almost like too much. It's like too much backstory. There's too much. I don't
Right.
know. It just doesn't do it for me at all.
Right. Well, I mean, to be fair, I mean, there is, especially when you get to, we're gonna spoil it anyway.
Yeah.
Especially when you get to the dinner scene in Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
There is even there is a certain sense of hillbilliness there. There are small amounts, especially when they're like laughing and stuff. But you are already so disturbed at that point,
Yeah.
that you don't really care anymore. You just, like, you know. But you talk about the like the biting off the head of the bird and stuff and all of that. But even that, it's like, for me, the same goes for the kills in this one. It's like this movie is just not extremely, like, gory, which again, it goes against what this movie is trying to sell, in my opinion. Again, I named Cannibal Holocaust, or you know, you already said it, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. By the way, we did a podcast on Tobe Hooper where we discussed Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So if you really want to know my thoughts about it, watch that one. But
Love Tobe Hooper.
It's a 9 out of 10 for me. So you know where I stand.
It's incredible.
Yeah, I love Texas Chainsaw. But anyway, but even with Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I mean, they do such a phenomenal job at portraying, you know, the almost animal-like graphic nature of people who eat human meat. And The Hills Have Eyes just misses that aspect in a lot of ways, and I just think that's a real shame. You know, if that's the selling point of your movie, then you better deliver.
Yeah.
And and you know, and I'm not saying you have to go like exploitation level or whatever, but you have to give the audience something, right?
Yeah.
You have to give the audience something. Like, the only real thing that we see here is that, like, them eating a dog, or whatever. It's just so.
I don't even believe, like, when I'm watching Hills Have Eyes, I don't even believe they're cannibals. Like, I can't even fathom that they're capable of, you know, of doing that. They don't give off that impression. Like, they like, I mean, it's, again, I feel like when you kind of see them, just any power you think they may have, or any kind of dread they might, you know, have, it just kind of vanishes. And, you know, I'm kind of going, really, like, you're gonna, like, eat me? Okay, like, okay, like, why don't you try? Like, it's just not. I just don't buy it. I don't buy it.
Yeah, them eating you is probably like you're getting invited to a family barbecue or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, and it's like it's, you know, and, you know, like you said, even with the necklace with the bones and stuff. I mean, again, bringing it back to, you know, Texas Chainsaw Massacre had that as well, but it's presented in such a disturbing and you know, really nasty and absolutely scary way, with like the chair which is made of bones and stuff. Like, it's just so riveting.
It feels organic, though. It feels like that's actually a real, you know, it feels like a real thing. You've literally walked into the House of Horrors, you know, you've walked into your living nightmare. Like, that's what it feels like. Whereas The Hills Have Eyes, like, doesn't, like, it completely fails on that level. Like, it's crazy, you know.
It really is. So let me throw it over to you. What are some of your other issues with this film? I'm sure there are many.
Yeah, definitely just any of the family interactions for me just don't work. Like, again, I like the idea of the villains kind of maybe being a little bit odd, a little bit kind of, maybe a little bit more distant, a little bit more sinister. We don't quite understand them. We don't quite know what's going on. But like I just think any interaction between the family is terrible. Um,
Mhm.
I hate the costumes. I hate like the wig that one of the guys is wearing. Like he's kind of wearing this really wacky wig. I just think
Oh yeah.
it looks really silly. Maybe that is his hair, but I hope not because it looks terrible. Um, like it really just looks awful. Um, yeah, I don't know. Like again, maybe um the kind of backstory again to the Jupiter family. I'm not really kind of buying into it too much. Um, what else? Oh God, I don't know. I just feel like the whole tone is just kind of flat for me, and the most of the fighting scenes don't really do anything for me either. So
No.
yeah, I think for me, I'm trying to think what point. After maybe after a beauty gets killed, I feel like it kind of starts to unravel for me a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, that's probably the turning point, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's well, I want to actually, um, I want to come to Wes Craven's defense a little
mhm,
bit because, like,
okay,
because you talked about the tone as well, the tone, but also the gore and the kills and stuff. I want to come through to Wes Craven's defense a little bit
yeah,
because this film was dragged through the MPAA,
hmm,
and it suffered from censorship because of it.
hmm,
So there were a lot of people behind the screens making decisions that they had no business making,
yeah,
and the film turned out the worse for it. Probably, Wes Craven. He probably was powerless against that. He probably couldn't have done anything to facilitate that or whatever.
yeah,
But um, but censorship was a really big thing with this film, and the MPAA was really railing it in, and I think that's a big thing about why this movie became the way it is because originally, for example, originally Fred's death, the station
yeah,
owner,
hmm,
originally Fred's death was going to be way more graphic
hmm,
than we got in the movie. Mars and Pluto attacking the trailer and the whole sexual assault stuff was
yeah,
supposed to be much more explicit
yeah,
and nasty. Um, and the final confrontation with Papa Jupiter as well, it was just very, very toned down.
yeah,
And in that way, I really feel bad for Wes Craven because that's one of those points in your career where it's like, now I have to deal with studio interference,
yeah. I know.
wrecking my movie,
Hmm.
that I put blood, sweat, and tears into, that I wrote the script for myself. So he probably had a lot of faith in his own project, and then he had to deal with basically executives and stuff. So I want to come to Wes Craven's defense a little bit in terms of
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
What's your point of view on that?
yeah. I can totally see that, and I can see that. I feel like if he had complete artistic control, like I do think we'd be looking at a better film.
Yeah, I think so.
I think because that's what's missing in a lot of the scenes is just a little bit more, you know, kind of extremity, just a little bit, pushing things a little bit further.
Right.
Again, especially in this, in the scene with um, with the kind of sexual assault, and obviously not advocating for, kind of kind of more sexual assault, but I think
No,
just
no,
for
no,
it to be more of a powerful scene, we needed more from that. We needed a lot more in that scene. And yeah, I kind of, yeah, I do feel bad, and I would have liked to have seen, the version, that he would want to make, if he was able to.
right. No, no, and look again. I'm not advocating for any of that stuff at all.
No,
I
no, no,
mean,
no.
I'm as disgusted by that stuff as the next person. So I will never ever defend, what we were supposed to see in the movie, but.
Yeah,
Just in terms of like what you're saying, the
yeah,
intensity of it is like
yeah.
for, my biggest example is always like I Spit on Your Grave. Like
Hmm.
that's that's a movie that like, and again, I'm not saying that you have to be exploitation or whatever, but I Spit on Your Grave is the perfect example of that. And like that's a movie that deals with rape and revenge,
Yeah,
but it never ever turns into exploitation. But the actual sexual assault scenes in that film are so incredibly um, hard to look at, and
yeah,
it's so intense. And I wanted a scene like that for The Hills Have Eyes,
yeah. And
and
it's just even to get,
it,
it's not, again, like you said, not for exploitation, but just to give them a reason to justify the revenge, give them a reason to
yeah,
justify, the kind of fight back. I think it's just to push it far enough that we would believe, that we believe that these are like crazy psychos, just kind of give us enough that we can buy into it, and they don't in this film.
no, no, they're crazy. They're crazy Flintstones. Anyway,
Flintstones, yeah,
but it's
they're like
but
comic book characters, but they're
yeah,
not. I
yeah,
just don't see them as I just don't see them as villains. Like, I don't see them as antagonists, in any sense that I would kind of care about or be frightened of. Like, yeah, like you said, there's no fear in this film.
no, no,
Um,
there is no dread. There is no dread. There is no like.
no,
I'm never, like you said, after Beauty's death. That's when it becomes at that point, and before that, before Beauty dies, I was actually like, oh, this is really intense.
yeah, that's yeah.
And then
I,
it's
I
like,
thought the same. Yeah.
yeah, and yeah, it's really. But let me see how you feel about this. Okay,
Hmm.
so because I think with the exception of Dee Wallace's character,
Hmm.
her name is Lynn, I think, and
Yeah.
Lynn, right? Lynn, yeah. Um, with the exception of Dee Wallace's character, Lynn, I mean, the characters to me are just so flat and uninteresting. I mean, to me anyway, they're so
Hmm.
flat and look, I understand because this is much more of a film that tries to like illustrate how supposedly civilized people could become savages. Like
Yeah.
the what these are savages, but you can become that, like that
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
that's what this movie is going for, and I get that. But then I have to see that in the characters that you're portraying, and it doesn't really. Um, but just at the basis of of the script and narrative, like I said, you need to have individuals that I care about and that are like strong enough or smart enough to go up against these people.
Hmm.
And I think again, this is just something that this picture lacks. And it's I just never I never feel I never feel like the characters are at risk, or that the characters are like capable of like getting out of this situation, with the exception of Lynn, anyway.
Hmm.
So how do you feel about that when it comes to the characters?
Yeah. I definitely feel the same. What's Lynn's partner's name in the movie? I can't
Oh,
remember his name.
I'm blanking on it. Isn't it Tom or whatever?
Okay. Yeah.
I think so. I think it's Tom. Yeah.
He's the only one I feel that actually kind of just completely succumbs to the situation, you know, and he just kind of I guess shows the most kind of passion and the most, you know, drive kind of at the end. And he kind of he does kind of like, at least they try to take his character to that level of like, look at what these people can do, look at what they can turn into. And you know, I see that they're trying to blur that line between the savage and like the kind of civilized. And yeah, like I agree with you that, again, to kind of even go back to like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like I feel like even in the way that's set up with the, you know, the characters in the van and they're driving, like we kind of even just learn a lot more about them in that short space of time, and we kind of get to know them a little bit more, and you know,
Yeah,
kind of get to um just get to kind of sympathize with them a little bit more. So when everything kind of starts to kick off, we're kind of more on their side.
yeah,
But yeah, you don't kind of get that with these characters in The Hills Have Eyes, which is such a shame. Um yeah, so I don't know, what are your thoughts on it?
well, I mean, like you said, to go back to Texas Chainsaw, like
Yeah,
you said,
it's such a good comparison though, like
yeah,
to, you
it's
know.
like it's the sort of the staple, so we kind of have to. But you know,
Yeah,
but I don't. We shouldn't turn this into a Texas Chainsaw
yeah.
Massacre podcast, but no, I'm going to anyway. But it's, you know, it's not like the characters in Texas Chainsaw Massacre are so thematically rich or whatever.
No,
But,
but we get a
but
bit more, you know.
yeah, exactly. And by the time that they are like caught by the cannibal family,
Mhm.
you know, at least I care about them, and I'm worried about what happens to them. And
Yeah,
I don't want to be mean, but I just I don't I don't really find
care.
myself caring that much. It's
No.
like, you know, and
Yeah.
it's like it, I, look, I don't want to be Debbie Downer. I feel bad saying all of this, but it's like, you know, I'm, you know, I'm always about honesty, and you know, we can be critical even to a director that I really love.
Hmm. Yeah.
You can be critical, and it's like there is like, yeah, it's just I don't know what it is, but I just don't find myself caring about the characters that much.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
exactly.
yeah, it's sort of problematic anyway.
You know, like
So
The Brenda character. I mean, like, I think she does a fine job in, you know, in the film, but she's not. Yeah, again, she's not like a final girl that you care about. You know, she's not. Again, doesn't live up to. I don't know. You know, she kind of lives, and you kind of go, okay, you know, like moving on, and she's not someone you kind of really remember, or you know, like they wouldn't, for example, you know how they've kind of done, like they've brought Marlon Barnes back, like for example in like some of the, like the later Texas Chainsaw films. Like I don't feel like the Brenda character would be at all memorable to anyone, you know, in that sense. So
yeah,
you know, she just, yeah, again, just very kind of blasé characters in a way.
have you
I think they're more symbolic of a family unit rather than actually
right?
being like fleshed out individuals. I think they just make up the family that we're supposed to, you know, that are supposed to um symbolize what he's trying to say, you know, like the kind of very well adjusted civilized family versus the, you know, the crazies, the feral, you know, kind of tribal cannibal family. So it's more of a family unit rather than the characters. So, you know, you really don't care which of the characters lives or dies, whether it's the dad or the sister, or you know, you just, it's like whatever. You know,
Yeah,
who cares?
yeah. And the one character that you actually care about a little bit does die. It's like, what,
Yeah.
man? What? Why?
Yeah,
Why?
I
Why?
know. And that was probably, yeah, that's probably one of the, maybe one of the better scenes, because again,
Yeah,
I
you
think
know, yeah,
it's she's
yeah,
kind of I don't know, she's, you know, Dee Wallace is kind of maybe kind of leading the, the kind of script along a little bit. She's,
Yeah.
interacting with all the other characters. So her kind of going, you do notice her, her absence, but again, it's not a mass, like, do you really care that much? Probably not really, but it's more noticeable than maybe some others.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I want to care. I want
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
care,
we want to
but
care. We want to care about all
it's
these people.
yeah. But let me ask you this. And I'm always almost afraid to ask, but have you ever seen the sequel, The Hills of Ice 2?
Would you believe until today I had not seen the sequel? I just watched the sequel for the first
Oh,
time today because I
okay.
was like, oh, just in case I get any questions, I want to have seen it because
Right.
it's never been a sequel I've at all kind of been drawn to. Because the first film, it's not one of my favorite horrors, so I never was really drawn to it, and I just feel like
Mhm.
the sequel is just it's kind of more of the same. I don't know.
Is
It
it
didn't.
though?
Uh, it's. I feel like it kind of
Being
nearly keeps
sarcastic.
the witch.
I'm being sarcastic.
Oh, I don't know. I feel like it's just it doesn't move it doesn't move anything along.
Yeah.
It's like very unremarkable is all I can really say about it.
Yeah, it's so bad, and it's
Yeah,
like, and I have this thing where I tend to, well, I shouldn't say that. I mean, there are certain exceptions to the rule, but
hmm,
overall, I'm just not very big on sequels,
yeah,
especially in horror,
hmm,
especially in horror. Um, but I've seen it as well, and I was like, this is like 90 minutes of my life that I'm never getting back.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
it's
It's. I
and
mean, if you think the characters are bad in the first movie, like the characters in part two are like
oh,
they're actually insufferable. Like,
this movie is this movie we're talking about now is a blessing compared
yeah,
to part two.
yeah,
The same goes for Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part Two, by the way. But
yeah, yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen that one, but
Yeah, I actually don't mind it as much, but it's not.
oh, okay,
I don't. It's like Exorcist too. It's not in the same wheelhouse at all, but you can watch it. You can watch it, and it's
yeah,
like it's entertaining, but it's not. It's not the sequel. Like it's not an organic sequel to
yeah,
part one, but
yeah.
um, this one like it like Hills Have Eyes part two. Yeah, you believe it's in the same universe. It's a continuation, but like, do you really care? No. Um,
No,
like why does it exist? No one knows really, and
well,
it's just
that's
yeah,
always the one question I'm asking. That's always the one question that I'm asking when I'm talking about Wes Craven's whole catalog, his work and
yeah,
stuff. Like, why on earth did you say yes to directing
yeah.
a
Just
sequel to The Hills of Ice?
just move on. Just do
I
something else. Like
know it.
we could
Yeah.
have had something different.
Why? Why?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
just it's such a pointless film, honestly.
yeah. It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's yeah. So, do you do you have any more issues with or things you want to say about The Hills of Ice?
I just feel like I'll probably I don't see myself watching this again now, to be honest. I feel like I've kind of paid my penance now. I've watched it a couple of times, and yeah, I feel like maybe I could possibly be done with it. Unless I'm
Mm.
maybe doing like a Craven kind of, marathon or something like that. But um yeah, I just don't find it overly compelling. There's not really much in it to kind of get me to come back. I think it's fine. There's like a lot of, like I said, a lot of interesting ideas, um, a lot of interesting concepts, but it just doesn't deliver on a kind of as a whole. So I'll probably watch the remakes again before I ever watch
Okay.
before I ever watch this again.
Okay. Yeah.
Um,
Well, I'm not a very big fan of remakes myself,
no, me neither. I'm
but
not.
yeah, but you know what the thing is though. I mean, I want to come to Wes Craven's defense again a little bit, because I've been so Debbie Downer on this one.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, look, I love Wes Craven and I love his work,
Yeah.
and everything he did. I love it. And look, I own this movie. I have,
Yeah.
like, and this is I even have the limited edition with like the box set and stuff of the book and stuff. So
Hmm.
I own this movie because I'm a Wes Craven fan and I'm a Wes
Yeah.
Craven completist. And but this one, like I said, this always fluxes for me.
Hmm.
Next time if I'm gonna watch it next time, I probably I'm gonna love it. I don't know, but
Yeah.
this always like shifts so much for me. But I here's the thing, I keep coming back to this movie, waiting for some day where I actually fall in love with this one. I don't
Yeah.
know.
You're such a hopeful.
I keep giving it chance after chance after chance,
Yeah.
and it's such, I don't know. It's just such a bizarre movie, but it's
Hmm.
also it's always such a bizarre watch, because like I think when I did when I still did reviews on IMDb, I think I wrote a review for this one, and I think I gave it like an 8.5.
Okay. Well.
So it's
Yeah.
so that's the thing. I never know where I land with this movie.
Hmm.
So that's kind of like, it's kind of like a thorn in my eye or whatever. It's really like, I don't know what it is, but it yeah, I don't know. It's really, but for this time around, it's just, yeah, I don't know what it is,
Yeah.
but it's really um it,
Yeah.
it-
Maybe it's just like you know, like I kind of feel the same, that like I want it to be better. I want to enjoy it more because I want
yeah.
to, you know, you if you enjoy a lot of other Wes Craven movies, I think you want this just to be more, to kind of complete the, to kind of say that you love all his films. But it's kind of, it's not, it's okay for a filmmaker to have, like, kind of some, dips, or some films that are not as strong, because I think he has a lot of other really, really great strong films, and I don't think this diminishes um his legacy, or his kind of filmography in any way. I think there was a lot in it, I think, that kind of, just in terms of film history, I think, is kind of notable, and kind of worth talking about when you talk about horror films and 70s horror films. Like, there is strengths in there. So I don't think it diminishes his image or anything in any way. Um but I think, yeah, I think when you really love a director, you kind of want to love everything. And um yeah, I kind of just find this one hard to love. It's a
Yeah.
lot of his other ones, I'll always gravitate back towards more
Mhm.
often.
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah.
I was going to ask you that actually, because I was like I said, my Mount Rushmore is the 80s. That's my
Mhm.
sort of high water mark of horror. And don't get me wrong, I love the 60s and 70s as well in
Yeah.
terms of horror. But the 80s are sort of like my staple.
Yeah.
But you have said, I think, a couple of times in your videos that you are like a 70s, a film, the
Yeah.
horror kind of. But so this movie is from the 70s, and yet
Mhm.
you are very mixed about this one. So
Yeah, I think maybe there's just so many incredible films from the 70s, incredible horror films that do, you know, portray what I'm looking for in a film, and, like, that
right.
kind of gritty realism. And that's what I really like about the 70s, is that the films feel like, they almost feel like kind of more guerrilla in style, more kind of documentarian, more, more, just generally more kind of realistic. And that's not just horror, but that's, like, all kinds of movies made in that decade. Um so I think, yeah, maybe I was that's kind of the thing that I'm looking for in the 70s, and I just feel like yeah, I just feel like that tone, that kind of gritty realism that I like, it just didn't kind of carry through the film. It
Mm.
didn't. We kind of lost it, halfway through, and it kind of got into the absurd for me.
Right.
But but again, like I said, you know, the setting, the cinematography, the tone, like, I mean, there's other parts of it that, that the setup and everything kind of worked, and it was promising at the start. So yeah, it's disappointing for me that I don't like it as much. Because that's, yeah, it's my time period, and I just love it, and I love exploring more films from that decade that I haven't seen, and
Mhm.
yeah, I just gravitate towards those movies. I like the 80s as well. The 80s is great. It's probably my next, although I love the 60s as well. Oh, there's just so much. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
I love the 60s.
Well, if you're gonna go into your Giallo discovery, then you're gonna really like some of the best ones are from the '60s. So
mhm. Yeah,
the thing.
yeah, it's definitely a rabbit hole I need to get down into. But I
Right.
kind of want to get down into like the cannibal rabbit hole a little bit more too. Because again, like The Hills Have Eyes, like, I did want more from it, because I think it's an interesting concept to explore, that cannibalism, and you know, I think it's just such a disgusting, kind of idea, so disturbing, and I think I just wanted to see more of that. So I think I'm interested to see more films that do explore um that idea.
Right. Right. Well, I'll have a question about that. When we finish up our
Okay.
discussion, I have a question about that. But anyway, so for our final thoughts, anyway, uh, do you have anything more to say before we go into ratings for this one?
Um, no, again, I think that's kind of summed it up.
Okay,
For me, I
fair
think,
enough.
again, I like the idea of it. I think I know you say you don't like remakes. I think the remake, the Alexander Aja remake, actually delivered a little bit more of what maybe I was looking for with this film. Um, and I kind of know, like, I've heard a lot of some other people kind of saying, that they like that remake as well. I know I
Mhm.
don't particularly like remakes actually in general, but that's kind of one exception that I do like. So I think that'll be one that I'll return to, because again, I like the concept of it. I like the story, and the
Mhm.
idea of it does fill me with a lot of dread. Um, but there's nothing really else that I can add. It just doesn't deliver on it. So
Okay, fair enough.
but I still love Wes Craven, and he's still a master.
Yeah,
But just this one doesn't work for me.
right. No,
Yeah,
I mean, I think that's not up to debate at all. I mean,
yeah,
Wes Craven is Wes Craven, and he's fantastic. But yeah, I mean, I can see what you're saying. I mean, my issue with remakes runs deep, but
mhm,
I can see why people are enjoying it. Um, you know, it's just like, I don't know. Maybe like I always use this joke. Maybe I'm an old man screaming at the clouds. It's like it's like
yeah,
I don't know. Remakes never do it for me, but
yeah. That's fair.
I can see what people like it. But for this one, yeah, I mean, again, like I said, this is just such a bizarre movie. I never, every time I watch it, I never know where I'm gonna fall, where I'm gonna stand on it.
Yeah,
And unfortunately for this time, it's just I fall into the other category of like, this is just a film that has so many flaws, and
yeah,
like and I'm sure a lot of it is beyond Wes Craven's control,
hmm,
but yeah, I just for this time around, it doesn't really work for me,
yeah,
and it's really too bad. But like you said,
absolutely.
I don't want to I don't want to drag Wes Craven down because he's an absolute master of horror cinema, and I don't want to take away anything from that. It's just this movie is just, I don't know. It's I don't know what to say. What else to say?
I know it is one of those films that you're just like, it's a funny one. It's a weird one.
Yeah. So all right, I guess we can go into ratings for this one. You mind if I start with this one?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So The Hills of Ice. Again, I own it. I have the Arrow.
Yeah, I have it as well.
Oh, you have it as well. Okay, there you go.
I have a DVD copy. But
okay. Okay. You have a DVD. There you go. Yeah. I think I pretty much said everything. Is this Wes Craven's worst movie? No, I don't think so.
No.
I think there are much worse movies out there from Wes Craven. Scream 3. But I'm just saying. But for me personally, anyway. But But there are worse Wes Craven movies out there. But yeah, this one is just, it's disappointing. That's probably the best way to describe it. It's disappointing, and I wanted so much more from this, and I don't know. It is what it is. So when it comes to my rating, I'm gonna talk in defense of Wes Craven. Wes Craven, he's still a great director. There are things in here like cinematography, the score, and all of that. So there are things that you can appreciate in here, but I can't disregard the flaws. So in all fairness, I'm going to rate this movie. I'm looking for good metaphor. I'm gonna I got one. I'm gonna rate this movie 7 bone necklaces.
Oh, 7.
Yeah.
Oh 7. My god. Yeah. That's shocking.
Because it's, at the end of the day, it's Wes Craven.
Okay.
And just, the guy I really hold him in high esteem.
Yeah.
And just I want to give him at least some credit. So 7 7 bow necklaces. That's what I'm going to do.
That's a very generous, in my opinion. But no, I completely understand where you're coming from with that. I don't think I'm going to be as generous. I think, like I said, I kind of enjoyed it a little bit more today on rewatch, but now I think I've talked myself out of it a little bit. I think I've reasoned myself out of it. So I think I'm going to have to go. I'm going to go, and I think this is me being quite fair. I'm going to go 5.5 decapitated birds.
Okay, there you go. No, I mean, that's very fair. That's very fair. Yeah. And look, maybe I'm being too generous, but I again, it's like I hold Wes Craven in such high esteem that it's, I want to give him a little bit of leeway. So, but look, 5.5 is totally fair. I think that's absolutely fair. Absolutely fair. So it's not a perfect movie by any means by any means. So what was your metaphor again? 5.5
decapitated birds.
There you go. That's That's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah. So yeah, a 5.5 and a 7. I think we're being fair with our ratings.
Yeah, I think so.
Like I said before, even though you love the director, you can still be critical. So
yeah, absolutely.
So
can't be not of Serpent and the Rainbow though. There's something different about it that I can't even. I just can't even look at it in that way. It's just so close to my heart at this point, and it's just a total different kettle of fish to Hills Have Eyes in my eyes.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. So yeah, those were the movies that we were going to discuss. Wes Craven, if you can hear us by any means, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but fair is fair. I have to be honest.
Yeah, it's coming from a place of love, and the fact that we both own Hills Have Eyes, and I'm not going to get rid of it. Like, I don't know how much more I'm going to watch it, but it's Wes Craven. He's an important director to me.
Yeah.
So, it's
Yeah.
coming from a place of love, and we obviously watch it because we know that he's so great, and
Yeah.
so yeah, so it's not, there's no hate intended.
No. I'm always saying, like, I'm not kicking down, I'm kicking up.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
sort of like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
sort of like, anyway. But yeah, so those were the movies that we were going to talk about. I have like like last time, I have a final question that I want to talk with you about. And it's a bit of a sidetrack. It has not really a lot to do with Wes Craven, but more on what you said about going into giallos and stuff.
Yeah.
But you said you were talking about your cannibal thing and stuff. Do you have like one moment? I have to get a
Oh yeah,
book.
yeah. Take your time.
One moment. I have to grab it. If I can find it. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Because just to give you an idea about how far your journey can go into the cannibal genre.
Oh.
This is a book.
Oh wow.
That I helped to crowdfund this on Kickstarter.
No way. Oh, that's cool.
It's written by Eugenio Ercolani, who is basically the most famous Italian critic in terms of movies and stuff. And he basically put together this book, which it's the complete history of the Italian cannibal genre.
Wow. Oh, that's so cool.
It's like this thick, so you know what you can expect from it. Let me see if I can find a good picture here. For example, there it is.
Oh yeah.
And there is
great.
Interviews and all of that and stuff like that. So it's you can really spend some time in this world if you want.
Yeah.
So, just saying. But
what would you recommend? Because like I'm definitely just kind of dipping my toe into it. Like, I have seen Cannibal Holocaust, and what would you recommend to, like, kind of get a little bit further into it? Like, is there like a movie or like one or two movies that I should kind of try next? Or
okay, it's kind of it's a difficult question because you've already seen the roughest movie of the whole genre in Cannibal Holocaust. But you have also seen the high water mark of it. So it's a bit tricky.
It's all downhill, you mean?
What? Sorry?
It's all downhill from here, you mean?
No. I'm not saying that at all. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's the best out of the whole sort of list. But I think you have there is a movie that is called The Man from Deep River, which I think is a really good one. It's basically Dances with Wolves with cannibals.
Okay, great.
So there you go.
That sounds good.
There, if you are, I don't know if you're into like cult movies or whatever, movies that are about cults.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well there is Eaten Alive, which is a great movie as well, I think, in my opinion.
That's because I think I heard of that recommendation because I think I got it confused with the the Robert Englund one. There's like
no, that's with the crocodile. No,
crocodile one,
no,
this isn't.
This isn't. And then I would say you should probably watch that, and that's my personal favorite actually. You should watch. It's called Last Cannibal World, and it's that movie. And we talked about like style over substance. That movie is like again guerrilla filmmaking. That movie is, in terms of cinematography and scenery, it's the most gorgeous out of all of them.
Wow.
The director went to I have to pronounce it right. The director went to Malaysia, and he actually shot in the rainforest there. So
Okay.
they
Cool.
actually went to location and they camped out in the actual jungle while they were shooting the movie. And it's just how it looks is absolutely gorgeous.
Wow.
So
Awesome.
Last Cannibal World, that's one. So I think those three you probably might
Okay.
want to start with, but there are a lot of them. So, but apart from that, you're starting your Giallo journey.
Hmm.
Um, have you are you have you seen any Giallos already, or where are you at?
I am literally at the very start. Like you call Argento as Jello, right? No. Yeah.
That's
Oh, I have not seen that one. I do want to see that one.
I
Bird
was
with
gonna
crystal plumage.
I wanted to recommend this one.
Okay.
It's the bird with the crystal plumage. This is, by the way, this is Dario Argento's debut film.
Hmm.
It's his first film, so I should warn you there are some rough edges.
Hmm.
This is not like a perfect giallo movie by any means,
Hmm.
but it follows the template. And I think if you are looking for a place to start,
Hmm.
this is probably a good place to start because there are some giallos out there that are, let's say, more like if you're watching this, then you're eating McDonald's.
Hmm.
But there are some giallos out there which are like top tier. Then
Hmm.
you're eating caviar. So
Okay.
as a food comparison, like
Yeah.
if you start with this, you can climb your way up and
Yeah.
then get to the really good ones. So
Hmm.
but this was one I was going to recommend, the
Oh,
bird
cool.
with the plumage.
Yeah,
And
I
it's
need to
also
check that
from
one.
Arrow.
Yeah,
So and so
that's nice.
so,
It looks
yeah.
pretty cool.
But have you haven't seen any Giallo yet, or
I've seen Tenebrae, and
okay? Oh, what did you
I've seen
think?
Suspiria.
Okay, well, Tenebrae, what did you think?
Um, I actually really enjoyed it. I actually kind of watched it like really soon after I watched Suspiria, so like I
Okay,
didn't find it as kind of compelling as Suspiria. I thought Suspiria was like genuinely one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. Just like a complete, like it just completely sucks you in, and it's gorgeous. Like everything about it is incredible.
yeah, yeah,
So like kind of when I watched Tenebrae, I really enjoyed it and I found it compelling, but it was enjoyable, but like not maybe to the same level.
right, right. Well, I mean, we I say we, but like Suspiria is not really considered a giallo, though.
Okay,
That's more supernatural horror. Um,
okay.
because
So how do you define a giallo then?
well, typical giallos are typically not like they usually they don't have any supernatural thing in it at all.
Okay,
They're more like sort of Agatha Christie sort of movies, who done it, and
gotcha.
very often they have Alfred Hitchcock kind of flavors,
Okay, gotcha.
more in the veins of like something like Psycho or whatever.
Hmm.
There are if there are any giallos, I have to think hard, but there might be like one or two of them that are leaning more supernatural, but they are very far in between. Like
Okay.
most of the giallos are very realistic. Well, realistic, but they don't have like
They're based, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
they don't have like fantastical elements to them. So
Okay.
and Suspiria is about witches, so
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
like not. So that's more like a supernatural horror movie, which is like Suspiria is like I gave it it's a 9.5 for me. So
Mhm.
I that's like I adore Suspiria, but no, but like Tenebrae, for example, that's a giallo. So
Yeah, I
um,
enjoy it. No, I did it. I really enjoyed Tenebrae.
okay, well there you go.
Yeah. So
And it's not like that's not even considered his best giallo out there.
okay.
So you're in for a treat probably. But
Okay, cool.
I wouldn't don't stick to just Argento. like look further. There are other directors who have done some really good giallos. So don't just stick with Argento. That's my advice to you. So
Okay.
so and
Great.
I hope I have helped you a little bit with this one.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I definitely want to explore a little bit more,
there you
and
go.
and see which directors I like, and
Yeah.
just get a little bit more stuck in, because kind of the little bit that I've experienced, I've enjoyed. So I'm hoping there's more out there to explore.
Yeah. Well, there you go. There you go. So I hope I guided you a little bit there.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you.
Because it's honestly it's a fantastic genre. So if you're really interested in it, you can really dig into it and
yeah.
and the cannibal thing as well, to bring it back a little bit for the last couple of minutes. The cannibal thing as well. I mean, like a lot of people like talk down on those films, and they are, of course, they're kind of resentful to it, and they think it's the most like disgusting thing they have ever done. And look, the biggest issue for me with the cannibal films is always the animal cruelty. It's like I can't defend that in any shape or form. But if you are able to look past that and then just look at the films just in terms of filmmaking, like I said, they actually went to for example, the Amazon jungle and stuff, and like that's dangerous shooting a movie there, having production. That's dangerous. Like we already talked about it with The Serpent and the Rainbow. It's like guerrilla filmmaking, but it wasn't without risk, and they still made those films, and that's why I'm so enamored with them. It's like it's really the effort and energy and just like the time that they put into those movies. It's just like it's you're never going to see that today ever again. So
that's true.
Just in that way,
too many regulations and red tape, and just kind of too many rules. I know, like, you have to find a balance. Like, I know the animal cruelty is awful. Obviously, again, I wouldn't defend it either, but I think too many restrictions just kind of kills art and artistic expression. So it's a shame that we've probably seen all of those kind of movies that we're going to see. We probably have them all already. There's probably not going to be as many more made now.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So well, anyway, again, I hope I have been able to give you some advice and guide you there a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
As a sort of like, I don't want to say I'm a veteran, but I've been watching giallos for like almost 25 years now. So
okay, wow.
It's in my system. It's part of my blood, sort of. But so was Wes Craven, and just to bring it to a closure, because I think it's time we close this stream, because we pretty much discussed everything here. But just in terms of Wes Craven, this was a really great podcast to do. And again, I want to I want to say it again. I'm not lambasting Wes Craven in any way. Just, it's like you said, it's coming from a place of love, and it's a master of the genre that he worked in, and if anything, he deserves praise for that. So
and you don't become a master like just overnight. It takes trial and error, and it takes the kind of the duds and the the kind of rough around the edges parts to kind of get there. So no, like there's nothing but love.
Yeah, totally. So this was a very fun podcast and episode to do. So I think we're pretty much done here. So I think it's time we about close off this this stream here. So to the people who are listening and watching, thank you all for tuning in and watching and listening. I'll be back with more videos and other content as soon as possible, of course. Stay safe and healthy as always. Jodie, where can people find you?
Yeah, so you can find me at JODIE'S Movie Realm on YouTube, and yeah, just all my videos are usually just like pickup hauls, film lists, and yeah, just kind of any kind of maybe conversational videos that are kind of going around. I just kind of like sharing my passion and kind of talking to other people in the community. So if you're interested, definitely give me a follow.
There you go, and you're doing a very, very great job at it. So
thank you.
give her a like, subscribe to her channel because she makes really good content. So there you go. And so yeah, once again, thank you for being here for the second time, Jodie. This has been a lot of fun.
Me.
This has been a lot of fun.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the invite. Thank you.
Of course,
it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I feel the same way. This was awesome. So so yeah, again, thank you for being here. And again, I will say, stay safe and healthy as always. Have a good weekend, and I will see and talk to everybody very, very, very soon, of course. And with that out of the way, I will say goodbye. So bye. And Jodie, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.